I like to think I know my stuff about clubs and so on, but since becoming older and fatter and all of those things...
Your words, not mine.
Well, I think very much your words if we listen back to any episode that's ever been recorded.
Do you remember Fat Families?
No, yeah.
And there was that guy who made his massive fatty.
Yeah.
He'd love a bit of you.
Again, no need for that.
Hello and welcome back to the episode of Kickpoint, the Golf Gear Show. Welcome back to the hour or more of golf equipment chat. Thank you for joining us as always. Joe's got his smart water.
Oh, I've got nothing smart to say. Bear with me, caller.
No, you don't have to if you don't want to.
Carry on.
How are you, Joe?
I'm all right, yeah. Full of curry. Just had a ridiculously large lunch, didn't we? Went sort of full take.
You all go curry-based. The videography team do as well. Johnny over there's dancing because he has a dal of some sort. Crown Plaza Winners Triangle.
Highly recommend it.
It's a good lunch.
Highly recommend it.
So we're in the loopy lunch stage here, Kickpoint HQ. Got a jam-packed episode for you though. Boom! Titleist are back.
Aren't they just?
And
yes.
we could actually talk about it this time. Everyone's known about GTS. They tour. They like a little soft launch to Titleist, don't they? They like to give it to all their tour players. Talk about it. Tell us not to talk about it, but also
one of your
refer to it.
One of your least favourite things, isn't it? The embargo world.
Because... Oh, no.
No,
because it's just not that deep, is it?
It's not that deep to you.
It is probably for them, though, isn't it?
But it's probably deep for them. And they want to control the message and when it comes out.
And we are now allowed to talk about GTS, drivers, fairway woods. Caveat, Joe, we went to Woburn to get fitted for the product. We're having to film this way in advance of your test samples arriving. So this is going to be a first impression / tech chat. But you've hit plenty. I mean, your fitting was a good hour long.
Yeah, it was. Those are great sessions to get a look and get the sort of the tech info of the product from the people that are behind it. They're great. They're really, really good. But to properly get to the nuts and bolts of what you think of a driver, or a range of drivers, in fact, and fairway woods, you need to spend some time with it on your own. That's not weird.
No, just the way you kept that sentence carried on. But fairway woods and hybrids and maybe irons.
And so forth.
So on and so forth.
Yeah, you need to, well, certainly I prefer to get it home into my own environment, put it up against previous year's product, look at it side by side visually, get the feel side by side when you're there, really start to take the numbers. So I haven't done that yet, full disclosure. I've just had my sort of hour fitting where I've formed some initial impressions. And we'll go through those initial impressions today alongside the tech, how they look, all the stuff you need to know about GTS. For more information, for more detailed stuff, your written reviews will be out by now. So we'll be able to, you'll be able to go and supplement your knowledge with that. And what will be interesting from that, if just for me, is to figure out when I listen to this back versus what I've written down if in my written reviews, if having spent more time with product, my views have changed at all. Well, isn't that fun for everybody? Isn't it? Then we'll do Ask the Pod, comments and questions. That's pretty much it this week, Joe, because I think that's all we want to cover. Is that okay? Yeah, sounds good to me. Okay with everybody? But Joe, for all of that, Reebok Golf is back. And we're back wearing it again. We've switched colours from 2 weeks ago. I've gone light hoodie. You've gone blue hoodie. And they are sponsoring this week's episode. Reebok Golf is back, bringing its iconic sporting heritage to the course with a fresh range of apparel built to rewrite the rulebook and make a statement on or off the golf course. Classic, versatile, and performance ready. It's everything you'd expect from Reebok, Joe. Where do you make most of your statements, on or off the course? Statements. Definitely not on it the way I'm playing at the minute. The statements of some kind, they're bad ones, very bad ones. If you like the look of what Joe and I have been wearing, I want to check out more of the range because there is a lot of it as we've been sent and we'll be wearing over the next few weeks. It is available now exclusively online and in store at American Golf, the UK's #1 golf retailer. Thank you to Reebok for sponsoring this week's episode once again. Joe, can I talk about these again? Go on. The head covers. In case anyone missed it, PRG have sorted us out some custom Kickpoint head covers in neutral classiness. I can't describe that colour very well to people. Sand, yeah. Oatmeal canvas. Oatmeal canvas with a mahogany brown. It's not mahogany. Oak, tan. Probably real leather known PRG. Yeah. I don't know. They've sent me and Joe a driver head cover and a 3-wood head cover each. Very nice of them. Thank you, PRG. The goats of head cover. However, if you like the look of these and want to get your hands on them, we need help from you, which is lots and lots of comments that I can then show PRG and say, oh, look at this. It's interesting. They've got interest. Let us know. If not, it's fine. I'm not making you buy anything. Yeah, we're not going to force anyone into anything. But as you said last time round, The key is we didn't want to create tat.
No
did we?
tat.
So we only wanted to partner with the Rolls Royce of the head cover and accessory world, and that's what we've done. We're really chuffed with them. And I think there must be some of you out there that kind of like us.
Fingers crossed.
And if you do, you could rep. We could get and then I'd like.
And
to
we're going to
see
make it limited though. If PRG can do a run for us, we'll make it super limited, 10 or 20 numbers, because these are expensive. We're not pretending they're not expensive. Don't come shouting at us. But imagine there's like 20 people with them around the world. Oh, what's that? Oh, it's this equipment podcast I listen to.
And then we could sort of get photographs of them in weird places. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
I'd enjoy
That's
that.
my job. I'm going to take you to some very strange places.
Cool.
Oxford services later.
Yeah, why not?
Take them in the toilets with me. Weird. Right. Titleist GTS drivers. So when did these get launched? To March? To tour? There was a little teaser on social, and then we saw it. So we've known they've been in existence. Huge take up, as there always is with Titleist drivers on tour, for reasons. I know a lot of their players are paid, but a lot of them aren't. They don't have to.
I don't know. Even the players,
the non-paid
that are paid,
ones are switching. Like Adam Scott.
Yeah, but even the players that are paid, I don't believe anyone has any obligation to switch to the new product immediately.
No, of course not.
I don't believe that to be the case. So yeah, it's just,
especially because it's often in the first week. Normally, it's like, here it is. We're going to give you a couple of weeks to change into it. No, they're almost in it. Very well timed for the embargo to lift.
There'll be a couple of things at play there. I would suggest that the Titleist Tour team on both sides of the pond are very good at what they do in terms of getting product into people's hands, and really good fitters and very knowledgeable people. And the second part of that would be, I don't mean this to be disparaging, but there's not masses of change between models in Titleist. They tend to be very much more of a evolution rather than revolution,
especially from a looks point of view, right?
Particularly aesthetics, which would be a stumbling block, even if the performance is exactly where the team want it to be or the player want it to be. If someone can't get their head around the look, that's going to be an obstacle to them putting it in the bag. So Titleist almost completely eliminate that barrier to entry, because they know their players are going to like it, because they've been looking at it for arguably 5-6 years. Yeah.
Right. So let's do the bit we haven't been able to talk about, or you haven't been able to hear about, even though you've known this driver's existed for ages, which is the technology. So we've got GTS 2, 3, and 4 drivers we'll start with. Joe, what is new?
Well, the main part is they've extended, so it was the proprietary matrix polymer, wasn't it? So it was the first time in GT where they went away from an all titanium construction, and that formed the crown of the GT range. Now, what they've done this time round is they've now brought the crown further round, almost to encapsulate the whole sole. So it's basically the bulk of the chassis is that proprietary matrix polymer, which saves an awful lot of discretionary weight. And if we know nothing else about engineers in golf, they friggin' love discretionary weight.
If I had a penny for every time I've heard discretionary weight in a meeting, I'd have 6p, which isn't a lot, but that is more than one.
Yes, but engineers love that discretionary weight, because if they're not wed to where it needs to be because of a heavy material that simply makes up the club head, they can move it wherever they want. So when you can move it where you want, you can optimize CG and MOI and all of those things to your benefit and to your advantage, and that's what they've done there. And that's really the main tech story behind the GTS range for me. There's some subtle differences. So in the GTS4, which I think would be fair to say in the GT range, it's the more niche of the products. I didn't see many GT4s at all on tour, and I wouldn't imagine it'd been a huge hit at retail, because it's incredibly low spin, smaller head. It's a very niche offering. There'll be a few people out there who would like, shut your face, I love my GT4, because that'll be their exact requirements. But seemingly they're trying to bring that a little bit closer to the rest of the range, I would think, because it's gone from a smaller head to a 460cc head, slight change in head shape. So I think you might see a few more of those than certainly we did in GT4. The early testing, and again, this might have changed now, but the early testing that we were told about when we went to Woburn was that a lot more players, whereas GT3 had been extremely popular in previous generation, a number of players who were GT3 were erring towards the GTS2. So that looks like the numbers possibly early doors could be a little bit more evenly spread. But yeah, I think overall on that, like I said, evolution rather than revolution, and rightly so for this model, because obviously GT was pretty phenomenal for them, wasn't it?
And it's one of them where this is the natural progression for that new crown technology they've come up with. When I asked in the presentation that we had, like, God, this must have been hard to, like, make it better. He's like, well, not that it wasn't hard, but we're so confident that what we've done is taken a proven technology and used more of it on the head. It can only be better, which is an interesting way of looking at it. But that, to me, and then aesthetically, talk about how similar it is. I mean, there's a GTS etched on the face, and there's a little silver on the rear of the club head.
Yeah,
a little silver sort of notching that if you put them behind, if you looked at worm's eye behind the driver,
which famously you're always
doing that, you know me, allows it to see a bit different. But this is Titleist, and it's not going to change anytime soon. And it's the only brand I can think of that sticks so firmly to its looks, and it works in their favour. We spoke a few weeks ago about which brand do you think has the most loyalty. We were saying Ping because of the way, you know, once you're fit for a Ping, you're pretty much set there. Titleist just have this very loyal set of people, and they daren't annoy them with a change. And I've not got an issue with that for their target audience.
You say that, but then we go into the fairways, and the looks change quite dramatically.
Yes, correct.
So the head shapes have changed a little bit in between the models, but the main thing that you'll notice, as soon as you put them down or you look at any of the press releases or any of the pictures that you've seen, the face is silver. So that's something that was done, I think, originally, from my knowledge, I think Cam Young maybe asked for the sort of the black to be polished off the face because he wanted to see more of it. He wanted to see a little bit more loft. And that was done as a tour only sort of job. I think it was Cam Young.
Yes, it was.
And then obviously subsequently a few of the Titleist players may have looked at that and thought, oh, well, I like a bit of that. And oh, crikey, this is a nice look. So they've done that for the GTS Fairway range, which is a...
What did you think of that? Because I really liked the way it's just a visual trick on the eye, I think. It makes it look like there's a bit more loft on there. And to me, it made the blade length look a little bit longer. And I quite liked that. How did you feel?
I'm a bit 50-50 on it myself. I think it's the right decision for the mass market. I think more people want to see a wider blade length and want to see more loft from a confidence point of view, because fairway woods, particularly off the deck, can be that sort of tricky area of the game. I've always quite liked a little squat fairway wood and something neat and yes, almost stubby behind the ball. And I don't like seeing loft because I've always been an overspinner. So for me, maybe not quite for me, but I think 85% of the golfing public will see that as a really positive change.
And also interesting to see another trope of golf presentations that we get is influenced by tour, tour preferred. This actually is. I'll give them that. Yeah. The tour players looked at that, wanted it, they did it for him, he liked it, other tour players liked it, feedback comes and then it exists. So that is a genuine, you can see that progression, which I like. Onto the
only thing I would say, just to interlude there, not a criticism, but I do wonder, I say about options all the time, don't I? I wonder whether, like in TaylorMade drivers, for example, you can get the fiducials on the face so you can see more loft. Or you can have the darker face so you see less loft.
Options. Yeah.
Or actually, there's also another head that's got a light-faced head that hasn't got the fiducials. So I wonder whether maybe that'd be something you could offer further down the line as a limited edition, more of one of those stealth blacked out ones for people who don't want to see a shiny silver face. Don't know. Just on observation.
Options are always beneficial. Right, let's come on to your fitting then. Actually, before we do that, we went to Woburn for this, and I'm really interested to hear what people think. Not only about our content, because we're having a bit of a worry, a concern about this, but other golf YouTubers that you watch and reviews, when they go to, and we've done this loads, and I've been worried about it, go to the brands, you go to their space, right, to film content, to get fit for the driver, to have the presentation, blah, 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 and then you produce content there. We sat there, we had a great time there, and we appreciate Titleist hosting us, and we've done it with every brand, and we've thought about every brand. To you, watching and listening, all that content, how does that look to you? Because to us, we feel a little bit on edge. We've only just seen it. We can't really go away and collect our thoughts. You've got all their branding next to you, and you've just had a presentation put towards you. You've just been given lunch.
You've just been given plenty of drinks. You've been looked after by the best people you could possibly be looked after by, who know the product inside out. So it's superb to learn all about it. But yeah, I guess, as you just said, my slight concern comes when you start making content immediately there on that day as you're all swept up in the whole thing of it. A, it's easy to get swept up, like I just said, and B, there'll be people around, and if you have got something negative or something you're not quite sure about, it's difficult to blurt it out in that environment. So
it's
I just wonder.
Situation, and I see like all the other golf influencers we follow, people who review equipment, and this happens at Titleist more than others, but they have their picture by the TV saying "Welcome X," and you're like, we're all doing it. I just want to know what people think about it. If you're fine with us doing that, and you're like, yeah, fine, you got to go do it. Great, we'll continue with a smile on our face. But if it genuinely affects your opinion on because all the great content creators around equipment. Rick Shields back in the day when he was first started out doing his reviews, guys like Breaking 80 on YouTube, who does a really great job of his tech reviews, are never on site with the people. They're never, yes, they're having conversations behind the scenes. Yeah. Yes, they're having the
But that's fact finding, isn't it? And that's what I see that mission, what we did
for
at
us,
there, should be, right, let's go and talk to them. It's great. I want to hear all about how it was ideated. I want to test it in all of the options they've got down there, but also I don't want to formulate a single opinion
on site
until I'm away from there. I have the product in my hands in my own environment, as I said at the start of the show. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Maybe we're both overthinking it, but that's why we're asking the question. Does that affect if you see a video of someone like us at the venue? Do you, in the back of your head, are you thinking what I'm kind of thinking, that is like, well, they're going to have to be nice about it because they're there? Like, does that enter your head? That's what I'm keen to know.
Absolutely. Let us know. So anyway, all we've got so far, because as I said, we're filming this in advance and Joe's samples haven't arrived yet, is your fitting, which was in depth, went through all of the heads, see how they all perform differently. So we have got a pretty good idea of how these are going to work. Give me your impressions, please. I was there for it, but I want to hear it again.
Yeah, super early, but ball speed looked good. Ball speed was as quick as one. Yeah, I think it was as quick as anything that I've tested in a first session. So I was averaging about 173, which is pretty quick for me.
Even living out the heel.
Yeah, pretty consistently out the heel, which is nothing unusual for me. But peaking it around sort of just over 175 before I started lashing at it and trying to get it above 180, which we managed.
You did. Yeah, good for an old fat man, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I needed to lie down for several hours afterwards. Two things that were slightly difficult. I think it was very windy, wasn't it?
Straight downwind. I'm going to say gusting 35.
Yeah. So whatever I did from a dispersion point of view, it was very flattering because as soon as you go down a good strong wind, it straightens out a multitude of sins. So difficult for me to comment too much on dispersion straight away, but looked pretty decent to me. And like I said, was quick. The only sort of negative I would have to start with, which again is like that could have been on the day. It could have been a way I was feeling. I felt a little bit off center, and this, as I said, this could have completely changed by now when I get the product home and I'm trying it in on numerous days and I've spent more time with it. But off center to me, it didn't feel how it looked on the launch monitor.
Go on, what does that mean?
Well, when I would neck one and when I would toe one, and I don't know whether this is because that proprietary matrix polymer now is going
further around
the head. It was a very different feeling to me from GT, and it just felt a little hollower to me than when I hit the GT.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit less substance behind it, which made it feel weak off heel and toe. But then I'd look at the launch monitor, and it wasn't. It was arguably tighter. It was
strong, yeah.
Which I need to double check because obviously I want to hit this stuff side by side and get really comparable strikes. So that was that was confusing to the senses, which I think is a good thing because, like I said, the numbers were excellent. Even though if I felt I severely hit it off the toe, and we had sort of the strike location pattern, so you could see how far you were out. I'd look at it; it felt not great, but then I'd see maybe a 2 mile an hour ball speed drop off, which was. So I don't know quite what to make of that yet because I want to delve a little bit further into it, like I said. But I would arguably, that would be my only criticism to start with. Like I felt a little bit more substance off my heel and toe hits with GT than I did with the GTS. But again, I need to substantiate that a little bit further. But as I said, the launch monitor data didn't reflect that. It was still really good. So
interesting how a feel can be so different from what the numbers say. How much does that bother you if it's good or bad? Like if it feels great, but the numbers, I thought it might go a bit more. Or like this didn't feel as good as you'd like, but the numbers are there. You know, let's say you went to take that GT, you ended up in the GTS 2, didn't you?
GTS 2 with weights forward, yeah.
If you gained that, but were living out the heel as you do, and it didn't feel quite right, but you knew it was still doing the thing. Could you marry that off and go fine, or would that take a bit of getting used to?
For me, it would take a little bit of getting used to, but I think there's plenty of players that want very obvious feedback. So if you do hit it out the heel, you want to know you're hitting it out the heel because that's something you want to correct and work on, etc. It just increases your awareness. But if you can get that awareness without it affecting the downrange numbers, that'll be the holy grail for some people. It'd be like, great, getting really good feedback about strike location, but I'm also not getting punished too badly for it. This is great. This is the right way of going about it. When you're someone who's got a fairly consistent miss hit, I would say I hit 6 out of 10 necky. I would just want it to feel a bit better, more consistently for me personally. But again, I need to fully substantiate that. And
I would love to feedback on my fitting, which was again wonderful. But as we spoke about, maybe last week, maybe the week before, maybe both, was hitting it. I mean, it actually led to a really interesting conversation. I was hitting the ball so badly. I was stood.
That's not fair. You were hitting the ball very representative of how you hit it incredibly inefficiently, but you've been hitting it incredibly inefficiently for about. Well, how long have I known you?
82 years.
Yeah. No, 3.
3. It's been that long.
Yeah, it's been that long. So what you were doing was incredibly representative. It was just that YP fade that started right of target for you as a left-hander, came back onto target, but was 30 yards shorter than it should be.
But didn't it open up a fascinating conversation with Duncan, our fitter, whereby it was like, right, Duncan, do you fit this man for this YP fade that is completely workable? I've worked with it for years and played off 7 for a couple of years now. Or do you give him a little help and square him up and say, go away and do that, and then fit him for that? It's a really interesting debate, isn't it? And I can't quite remember where he netted out, but I was in such a state, it was like, right, let's square you up and we can't really do much.
No, I don't think that's fair. I think he sort of kind of fitted you as you were, but also made the observation that if you're fitting a lady or a gent who's late 70s, 80 years old, who isn't really going to have the time or inclination to start making technical changes, you got what you've got there, and you've got to maximize that and do what you can. You're not in that category, and you're someone and again, as a fitter, you've got to kind of blend your knowledge with your technical knowledge of the golf swing and see, is this going to be an easy fix for a guy? And this just needs to be pointed out, or do I run the risk of ruining his whole golfing career by giving him some information he doesn't need to know here? And should I just be quiet and fit the clubs? I think from the conversations we had, he understood that you knew a bit about the delivery because we'd spoken about it and you'd seen this and you knew why it was happening, but you didn't have a clue. And this is the first time I've ever sort of had a chance to get in there and go, well, look, that is what's happening. I can see the numbers now. Here's what you need to do. We need to get those shoulders and your stance squared up, because essentially you just aim miles right of target. And when you aim miles right of target, you've already influenced yourself from a left-handed point of view with an outswing and swing path. And arguably, yours never looks that over the top because you're already aimed there. So arguably, you're coming from the inside to where you're aiming. Because I reckon you're aiming 20 degrees right, and your delivery is only 10 degrees right.
Yeah.
So you might actually be 10 degrees from the inside.
But it brought up an interesting thing. And another thing I found from my fitting, I found is all fittings I've had since I've been in this industry, I really struggle with, even though I'm a decent golfer and understand my game, feedback.
Yeah.
Feedback. I hit a ball, Duncan, how did that feel? And I'm like, mate, I do not. Has anyone else experiences with them for a fitting? No idea. Watching you and him sort of, basically neck off with each other. Like, yeah, just at the heel, mate. Yeah, you can try and hit a big one now. And I'm just sat there going, God, I'm rubbish at this.
But you said during that one, I remember you saying, how'd you know that was off the heel? Because I felt it. I think that can only be a repetition thing. I've hit so many more golf balls than you in my life.
Yeah.
But I know what a heel strike feels like. I know what the ball flight from a heel strike looks like, /toe, /high on the face, /low on the face. I just don't think it's not you're uncultured or uneducated. You just haven't hit as many of them as me.
Yeah, and I get that. But it's like when Duncan's asking me that, I'm like, oh no, mate. Where'd it go? Do you know what I mean? And this is why I think when people go get fittings, I still find them frustrating to this day because I don't know the feedback. I can't repeat my swing as well as some other people. People are even worse than me. They're weird. They are weird situations to be in. I know we yam on about fit, go get fit, go get fit, go get fit. Sometimes you're just like, I don't want that social interaction.
But you don't need it. So he was asking you that to try and include you, I guess. But He can go onto TrackMan and look at the impact location and tell you exactly where you hit it.
Brilliant.
He's just trying to understand your level of understanding of your own strike. And you made it very clear from the get-go, I don't know, mate, that could have been off the grip. Like you didn't have that feedback for him. And he's like, okay, cool. That was necky, blah, blah, blah. Feel isn't a huge talking point or requirement for you because you don't quite know where you're hitting it regardless. So it's just like whatever the questions are, no one's trying to catch you out in these fittings. And I think sometimes people feel intimidated.
Yes.
Oh, he's going to think I'm thick.
I feel seen.
He's going to,
I feel seen.
And stuff like that. And that's absolutely not what's going on there. He's just asking pertinent questions because he wants to understand.
Was he trying to embarrass me, Joe?
I don't think he was trying to show you up. You were doing that just fine.
So yeah, sorry, I've got no fit. I could never review golf clubs. I couldn't do it. I'm so focused on my own swing and just trying to strike it. The idea of trying to analyse what that club's doing for me, it blows my brain.
But therein lies a whole other kind of
why you should be paid more.
Well, we get it all the time, don't we? When I'll review like a game improvement iron or whatever, people are like, well, how does he know this? Look at him, he can hit it this far and he hits it out the middle. How does he know? Blah, blah, blah. If you went into that, or a 15 handicapper went into that, who can't really tell you whether they hit it heel, toe, bottom, top, like it becomes a lot more difficult. So I would still argue that even if you're a bit more consistent, you're a better player and you've got experience and the knowledge of this stuff, you can still, even if that's not an iron or a driver or whatever that's designed for you, you're still in a better position to understand its capabilities and what it has to offer simply by understanding your impact, like I do a little bit more than you.
There we go. A bit of an aside there, but that's some more fitting chat. I loved that. I love seeing loft on a golf club, so I loved the new finish on the woods. But again, that's a preferential.
Going on those fairways, so I was struggling a bit. Funny enough, I was wearing a Malbon. Remember, I was wearing a Malbon 3/4 zip jumper. Yeah. You weighed about 3 stone.
Did you see the comments on this on a few weeks ago video?
No, go on.
You moaned about the Vice logo being too whirly and turly with a massive scritchery Malbon thing.
I saw that.
There.
I nearly got back to that last night. I did see that last night. But like these things have different contexts, don't they? Whether it's on clothing. It's not like I don't like calligraphy. It's not like I don't like calligraphy. That wasn't what I was saying. I just don't want to see calligraphy style writing on a golf club.
Fine,
I don't mind it on
zip.
Items. Yeah.
By the way, as you're about to make the point, the quarter zip is the heaviest thing on planet Earth.
Incredibly warm.
It's like wearing a weighted vest that really army people wear to train.
So yeah, by the end of like 70 driver shots, tried fairways, and I very much had lost my rhythm by that point. So I need to spend a bit more time with them to get some. But Duncan actually sort of intervened there. He said, I wouldn't mind seeing you in something a bit shorter, which leads me to another thing, actually.
What, your top was a bit long for you?
the 3 wood, which was catching a little bit heavy consistently. And he went down to 42.5 inches, I think, which is essentially 5 wood length, and just added a bit more weight to the head of the 3 wood. So it was essentially a 5 wood at 3 wood loft, and I was finding strike a little bit better and actually seeing a lower, more penetrating flight, which I always want in that fairway woods. And it's something I've thought about for a while, going shorter in fairway woods and wanting to know, or knowing what I think I would want to do to get that back playable, which is adding head weight back in to get it to the right swing weight and stuff, but then knowing where to add it, so CG and MOI, etc. But leads me on to a question I got from... Do you remember Richard Wood's 42.25 from Dawlish?
Yes.
It's now 42.75, I think, or however old
That could be a year older now.
He rang me because he was in the shop, and one of the guys in the shop wanted to cut down their 3 wood 3/4 of an inch, and wanted to know what sort of implications they should be looking out for as when they do that.
Yeah.
So I said, well, immediately you're going to lose a little bit of swing speed inevitably. Like when you take length off the club, you're not going to be able to move it as quick. You might see a lower ball flight, but predominantly from a club building point of view, you're going to lose swing weight. So as you're going down in length, you've got the 3 wood head weight at basically a 5 wood length now. You can try it, might be absolutely fine. But if you're struggling to find strike, you might need to add a little bit of weight back in. So just a public service announcement for people who hear this all the time and go, shorter driver is going to help me have more control. It can, and it can just work out. You just chop it an inch and Bob's your uncle, off you go. But sometimes you do need to rebalance that weight up. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because I think it was a TaylorMade QI4D. and he loves the look of it and didn't want to slather it in lead tape. So how do you do that? Well, your two methods are you either contact TaylorMade and get some heavier head weights, which can be done, but I think that's going to cost you, or a little trick that I told him that I like to do here and there. I can't remember whether you were around when we did it actually in the workshop, but take the weight out. Where are you going to put this weight? Often there's two head weights.
So you do with Dan Henderson's hybrid?
Correct, yeah. So take the weight out, use that as a template, cut your lead tape to the shape of the weight. So it's going to fit perfectly in the cavity you've just removed that weight from.
Yeah.
Then drill a hole through the lead tape.
Yeah.
So you can get the thread back through of the weight you've got to screw back in. Put that lead tape into the cavity. You might need 2, 3, 4 layers of it. Slot the weight back on top, screw the weight back down, and the weight, the screw and the power of the screw and the weight of the weight will squish that lead tape down to an extent.
It will still protrude.
You might have a slight
surely.
protrusion, but a slight protrusion of that is better than, for many people, seeing 6 strips of unwieldy lead tape all over.
See,
So
I like
have a
seeing
look
the
at-
strips
you
of
do,
lead
don't
tape.
you?
Yeah, it's got a story.
You do.
But that's another good option, Joe. Actually, on my driver, the driver fit, he took me an inch shorter. Because I told him
go an
how
inch
successful
shorter,
I've been
yeah.
with my mini driver.
Correct,
That
yeah.
was a cool thing.
And again, that
more
comes from-
golfers like me who can't hit their driver need to be in shorter drivers, Joe.
Potentially.
Everybody shorten your driver shaft. Everybody?
No, everybody, don't listen to Dan.
Everybody. Now.
Try it.
Now.
If you're struggling with drive, that could work for you. But yours came from a very evidence-based point of view where you were like, yeah, I just went to Mini for a bit. And he specifically, sort of his eyes lit up and went, and how did you find it? Because he wanted to know, you've done that experiment.
And I couldn't feed back because I'm thick.
You
I
could.
can't remember.
Where are my keys? But you said, yeah, you had a lot more control. You found the middle a bit better. And he's just, cool. Disappeared, came back with the driver that's slightly heavier head weight, a shorter shaft, and all of a sudden, bosh.
Another thing.
Go on.
Another one on length. The wedge fitting video may or not be out there, which we did do at Woburn. That a 1/4 inch shorter to fine strike. I know length's important to fine strike. I'm not breaking news to people here. People are clever listening and watching. To see that in action twice at the top end and the bottom end of the bag was fascinating to me.
Yeah.
Little tinkers that just without me having to change a thing meant I was striking the ball better.
Well, think
Amazing.
about the importance of turf interaction with wedges and controlling low point and not digging too much. Thinning, batting comes from how high the leading edge is off the ground, and what can have a more direct effect on that than the length of the implement you're swinging.
Nothing. That is GTS drivers, folks. That is all we can give you. Apologies. You know, the way our lives work, where we live, how busy we are means we have to come and do this on this date, and it's before you got your stuff.
I think it was more extensive than I thought it was going to be. We've got a bit of initial tech. We've got told about the range. We've got a bit of feedback that still needs checking out. But I think that's fine. You shouldn't. I think we're always under pressure to have all of the answers immediately, quickly, and this is what this is going to do. It's like, no. Why don't we, and I've been caught out by that before. I dubbed the QI35 from TaylorMade.
Best thing since sliced bread. Joe Ferguson, I remember. I was there.
I got completely waylaid because I loved the head shape and I loved the. I just wanted it to be so good, and I let that get into my early reviews, and it was good. But as I played with it over the months after that, just a few cracks started to appear, not literal cracks, but
steady
spin and things that I didn't love that I was seeing. So I just think we can rush it, but it might be wrong. So let's not rush it. Let's just
all slow down.
give us a bit of time.
Let's enjoy it, for goodness sake. Titleist driver launch only come round once every 2 years or 18 months now. Like, let's enjoy it.
Quite right.
Let us know what you think about the looks, and if you've been to hit them by now, which you probably wouldn't have been able to, so it's a moot point. Enough of that. It's time for our favourite part of the show. Hopefully your favourite part of the show as well, where we get to answer some of your questions and read some of your contents. Hit it, Johnny. Oh. Sing along at home. Ask the pod.
Oh.
Ask the pod. Ask the pod. Ask the pod. Never leave me alone again.
I was reading Ask the Pods.
Okay.
I forgot to ask the pod.
Never ever do that again.
This man's a bit cross. Gaffs 82.
Yeah, Gaffs. We'll get to Gaffs in a minute.
All
right. Welcome to Ask the Pod. You all know this by now, and if you don't, where have you been? And where are your where are your questions? Give us your questions. Kickpoint podcast at futurenet.com for your questions, and the YouTube comments space as well, please, because that's where we get a lot of talking points from down there. I'm going to start with some of them right now, Joe. Is that okay?
Yep.
Stop editing the document.
Sorry.
I can't say what Joe's just written down in our shared document because it would
Silly,
get
wasn't
believed. Yeah, very silly. The word rhymed with silly.
Yes.
Yes. There's only one word that could be.
Pud 56.
Regular commenter, Pud 56. Your comments are re-equipment, which is this whole show, I believe.
How's he got to 56 though as well?
Maybe he was born in 1956.
I was just thinking there might have been 55 other puds before him, but there probably wasn't, was
Be
there?
a big boy if he's having that many puds. You like a few puds, don't
Your
you?
comments
Your
re-equipment.
comments re-equipment's a funny way to start. That's every minute of this show. Not quite actually,
Not
but
quite,
nearly. So I don't know how to pin that down. Woosnam once said if Colin Montgomery played blades, he wouldn't be on tour. Montgomery famously always played game improvement irons and ultimately went to Big Bertha through the bag. Thoughts? Well, Joe, you've frequented Monty's life quite a few times, haven't you? And Precision looked after him for a while.
Not me personally,
But you've been in and
I've
around
had several lengthy conversations. And
what do you think to that thing that Woozy said?
I think Woozy may be misinformed or have been misquoted there because he started out with Titleist tour model blades, Montgomery, and was on tour with them. So
yes, that's wrong then.
That is factually incorrect. But I think his point is that he obviously veered towards big, chunky, offset, thick top edge, wide-soled irons. And he did, like, whether it was from his early Wilson days into Callaway, into Yonex, all of the other bits. He's actually now recently just signed with 11 Golf, of the 11 Golf
Through the bag?
Hybrid irons.
Monty's 11?
Yeah, he's
no
11 now, along
way.
with Sam Torrance, yeah.
Do you know what the bag setup is? Do you want me to try and find it?
I've seen a massive bag of head covers,
Colin.
which suggests he might be in the hybrid irons, but I'm not sure. But yeah, I think that might be possibly either a misquote or just a tongue-in-cheek comment from Woosnam there, because whether or not it was game improvement and chunky, I've seen the wear patterns on his irons, and it doesn't matter what he was playing, he found the middle of the golf club an awful lot. It was more just a look thing for Montgomery from what I could see. It was he loved heavy offset, which he only really found hugely prevalent in the bigger, chunkier irons. And he was also, I think, down the route of, why I'm playing this game for a living. It's my job. Why would I make this any more difficult for myself? But I mean, yeah, rightly said, there's still at Precision Golf, actually, I think in a frame in the foyer, there's heads of the irons that he used at I think it was the 2002 Ryder Cup, where he went out first and duffed up Scott Hoke in the singles with his old Odyssey belly putter.
Belly putters.
Yeah.
What were that all about?
Belly putters?
What were that all about?
Yeah, we probably
all remembers belly putters. What was that all about?
I remember his belly putter that year because he was absolutely. That's one golfing thing that will never be fathomed out, no matter what you do. Is that how different a putter Colin Montgomery became in the Ryder Cup to general life.
Was he not a good putter?
He was.
Or he was fine.
Fine would be about accurate, but his money was made by hitting every fairway and every green. Like, he was just exceptional tee to green, but was notoriously a bit tentative under the gun. Yet you watch him in the Ryder Cup, everything's banging off the back of the cup, pouring them in from all over. That's a phenomenon I'll never understand. So yeah, I mean, yeah, if anyone's ever in the Surrey area, pop into Precision Golf and have a look at the irons in the frame in the reception area of Precision Golf. And if you want to see some big chunky soles, they're Big Bertha irons, thick leading edge, big chunky soles, and an offset that's about half a mile in front of the leading edge. They're remarkable.
And a very light flex in his shaft, no?
In that 3-wood at the time, yes, that was a grey and pinky 3-wood. I can't even remember the brand, but I remember Simon saying he frequency analysed it. It was about, bearing in mind 6.0 is stiff on the Project X scale. This was about 3.2, I think.
Wow.
Ladies.
New flex unlocked from Monty.
Yeah.
Next comment, at the first cut. Joe, are you one of those weirdos that has their wedges more upright than their irons?
I am, yeah.
Cool.
Not not in proportions. It's not like I go like 3 upright through the irons and then go to 5 upright in the wedges. I try and keep a fairly standard. If 64 degree is a standard lie angle for most manufacturers for a sand wedge and wedge, I'm pretty solid 67 throughout. Goes against your Sevies and your Patrick Reeds of the world, who like to go with the low hands, super flat lie angle. Patrick Reed, I think, is 7 flat.
7 flat
in
wedges.
Yeah.
Wowee.
Because that's how he sees the game. I like high handle, high hands pitching. So yes, in answer to your question, I am one of those weirdos that likes upright wedges.
Wonderful. At Gaffs82, I've got a few comments coming, including this one afterward, about using blades to improve strike and your shot improvement analysis of irons in particular.
Still one of my favourites.
Yeah, you've got, you know what, the more we do this, the more we've got alignment on balls, we've got caddies, we've got blades, we've got zero torque, we've got, and this is what it's all about. Check the loft. I forgot about check the loft. At Gas82, I think a 15 handicap practicing with blades is senseless. The chances are a 15 handicap has fundamental flaws in their swing that prevents them from being consistent. Work on identifying and fixing those issues with the coach before making the game harder for yourself. If you already have a really solid swing and want to refine ball striking, then I understand someone using blades as a training aid. Response.
I think he's made a gaff. I'm not suggesting he uses... when he says make the game harder for yourself, I don't want you to make the game harder for yourself. I want you to make practice harder for yourself, because inevitably in any line of work or sport or physical training, for example, like you don't get stronger at the gym by lifting the weights that are really comfortable to lift, do you?
No.
You go to the harder weights and do 3 reps until you can do that comfortably, and then you do 4, and then you do 5, and you make this overload training. You make these tasks more difficult for yourself. You shouldn't go practicing your short putting by putting into a bucket into the garden, because then when you go onto the putting green, that'll feel really difficult. I would argue going and putting your short putts to a tee might sharpen your focus. So when you then go and hit short putts to a hole that's 5 times the size of that tee, that feels very easy. That's my point behind that. I think if you went to go and play a full round and play the medal with a set of blades that were a million miles away from your G740s, I think that would be a bad idea. But I still maintain making practice as difficult for yourself as possible within reason. I think you need to throw yourself some bones in there as well to boost your confidence. Like, you know, at the end of a difficult putting session, why not bang in 50 2-foot putts in a row, 3-foot putts in a row?
That sounds boring as S.
But just to see the ball going in. Monty used to do that. He used to go dead straight 3-footers and putt and work up to 100. And he wouldn't leave. And if he missed, he'd go back to the start.
Wow.
So if you see the ball going in 100 times in a row.
Good for your brain. Good for your mental health. Good for your men's mental health.
Good for your men's mental health. And you're just sending the right messages of, okay, ball hit hole, ball go in. See that, do that. So,
fine.
Yeah, I see that. But also, I'm not saying... I think the working and identifying and fixing those problems with a coach, totally agree. But I think you could work to fix a consistent toe strike that you got with your coach on your irons, and then you pull out your big shovel again. You might not even know you're still hitting it off the toe. So why not make that process more difficult when you're practicing, so when it comes to game time, everything's significantly easier? I stand by that. So that might just be a agree to disagree with you, Gaffs. I can see your point of view.
Plenty of agree with you though, Joe. IK4, don't let the normies hold you back. I'm about the same ability as my buddies who play cavities. I play a blade combo set, and I'd say I've been the best golfer in the past few years. Just barely, but I'm up on the drinks tab.
Good lad.
Road to Scratch 3481. I've always said we should play what we like. Blades, cavity backs, or game improvement irons, whatever gives you enjoyment. After all, it's just a game for most of us. Have fun. I also agree with Joe that game improvement irons should be labelled shot improvement, because they don't really improve your game, just your shot. Cheers. That's a very...
It's almost like I wrote that myself.
Honestly, is this your burner account? Because that is
Should be, but I like it. I like the.
I think that's exactly the kick point line, party line there. Road to Scratch. He's obviously been listening for a while. Yeah. Mixed Sumo. The Blades conversation is interesting. I have 2 sets.
Hang on, Mixed Sumo. He's an interesting character. He's a big commenter across Instagram, YouTube, everything. And Mixed Sumo's a man who won't just agree with what you say for the sake of it. Mixed a man with principle. You never know what you're going to get with Mixed Sumo. Sometimes it's a bang on, couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Next minute it's a nonsense, you should be taken off the air.
Fine. Whereas Road to Scratch is just scratching your unmentionables.
My road.
Mixuma. Coming in with an opinion.
I like it.
The Blades convo is interesting. I have 2 sets for less than the set of Tacomos, a set of Cobra Amp blades and a set of Honma Hey, who remembers Honma? What was that all about?
Same as
A set
belly
of
putters.
Honma cavities for a combined price of less than a 2026 driver. The difference to modern irons is negligible. I know you guys get sent all the new stuff, therefore you'll never say QI4D isn't worth the money as QI10 or Sim 2. We say that all the time, Mick.
I'll say it right now.
I'll say
yeah.
it right now.
If
QI10 and Sim 2 are worth the same-ish. See, I'm getting panicky again,
Yeah.
Joe. Because you looked at me funny because
worrying
we've
is-
got advertisers.
No, all I'm saying is I think there's incremental gains, but again, we've been through this. We can't put a price on those increments. Now, a gain might be a yard. A gain might be 0.1 of a millimeter of additional hittable area. We can't put a price on that. And some people would say, well, if it's 0.1 of a millimeter, it isn't a gain. I might agree with that. And if I was being paid, if I was out in the wild world and get my equipment and I was on the wages I'm on here, I could not justify buying a TaylorMade QI4D.
No, and we've never said that. And we've never said that.
No.
Mick.
So what I mean, Mick
Oh,
gets
you know
in
what?
amongst
Yeah,
it.
Mick's got me going now.
He gets amongst it, Mick.
OKF Max, please do the blades versus game improvement thing, which is where you get a higher hand.
Threatening to, don't we?
We might. We might. Please do the blades versus game improvement thing where we get a mid to high handicapper to hit them both and actually see the data differences. But Max says, please use the same loft, even if you have to use a 7-iron blade head versus the 8-iron game improvement head. What do you think about that? Loft the sorry, let him carry on. Loft the same, length the same, and then see. I would imagine the front to back on the blade is actually better. You should get more spin, even at the same loft, because of the CG. Something has to be there, because why wouldn't the best players in the world use game improvement irons in retro lofts if the forgiveness and dispersion would be better? Thoughts and feelings?
Yeah, I mean, I've not gone down that sort of last sentence route before. Yeah, if we're talking about it just being a loft problem in game improvement, again, like we said before, you can always change these lofts. So yeah, if the real benefits were there of you can hit it wherever you like on the face and you're going to save 3 or 4 yards, your top players would use them. There's other elements at play there, like your Rorys, Scotties, etc. may have just gone too far down the road and grown up with MBs and blades and small heads and thin soles and so on and so forth. So the sort of interruption of getting over to a game improvement iron for that forgiveness, if it does indeed exist, which I'm not entirely fully convinced of as of yet, that might be counterproductive. But yeah, I think the only way to do it, I mean, as soon as you go like 7-iron versus 8-iron, even if you do go in the same length, it's going to be surely
you wanted okay. Surely you want same length, same loft. Okay. Well, let's say we did this with Baz, off of Tour Issue. We know enough Baz, who's off low 20s, high teens, right?
Yeah.
Really new to the game, but got a decent swing.
Yeah.
How would you want to do that experiment?
I'd need to
Try
give it
and
some
get
real
an
thought.
idea.
I think that's why I'm putting it off, because thought's really hard, isn't it? But I wonder whether you'd meet in the middle. So you might want to, if I'm looking at a TaylorMade P7TW where the 7-iron's probably 34 degrees versus a P790 where it'll be at 30 or 30.5. We've got a 4-degree difference there. So it might be a case of, right, let's weaken off the P7 92 degrees and strengthen up and meet in the middle at 32.
You're changing a lot of the sort of reason the club's been built.
Correct. So then it becomes difficult. So then do you just go straight away, okay, well, we'll put the 6-iron up against the 7-iron, which will then be basically 30 degrees. So that'll be fairable. Will it though? Because that shaft's going to be half an inch longer. All right, well, I'll lob half an inch off, but then the swing weight's
all hell breaks loose.
So it'll take some careful thought. And I'm starting to think the meeting in the middle loft-wise might be the way to go about it. But it definitely is interesting. And the point he makes there, potentially maintaining spin, which you would likely see because of the CG location as he's talking about there, might actually negate any sort of perimeter weighting or face flexing that are coming, that marketeers would tell us is what's going to maintain your distance for players, might actually be completely counterintuitive. So the more and more I hear about this, the more I think important it is we actually do some proper journalistic research and
keep
do it
pestering
properly.
us, hold us to account, because we will put this down. We'll keep putting this down the road, won't we? Right, last one for this week comes from Ashley Burnell, who emailed us at kickpointpodcast@futurenet.com. Hi guys, I'm looking to update my wedges as they're a few years old now and I've lost their stopping power. I currently have my gap, sand and lob wedges stuck
Go on, try again.
Try again. So where did I get that from? There we go. I currently have my gap sand and lob wedges in stock DG spinner tour shafts, all in mid bounce. I've seen a lot of talk online regarding using the same shafts as your iron set.
I feel like we've answered this before.
No.
Have you not dragged this from another episode?
No.
Are you sure? Cool.
If we have, sorry.
Sorry,
but we're
again.
doing it again. Just the end of the episode now. You can F off and listen to your next podcast.
We'll stick around though. We'll find out if I've answered it.
I've seen a lot of talk online regarding using the same shafts as your iron set. I'm currently in a Nippon Motors Tour 105 in your wedges, particularly the gap wedge. And a lot of good players have low, mid, and high bounce wedges in their bag. Stop giggling while I'm talking.
I'm going to giggle. I'm pretty sure it's on the episode that's out now. Try.
Go on.
Yeah, keep reading it. It's fun.
How are you going to find out it's on the episode that's out right now?
Because you'll have chapterized it because you're a good little egg like that, aren't you?
Do spinner or wedge shafts actually increase spin? You emailed him back. You emailed this man back. That's how you know.
Are you sure?
Yeah, you emailed this man back.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Go
I'm not
on,
going to talk until you figure this out.
Okay, well, it's going to be a bit of dead air from it now, people. Just bear with us.
Hopefully the editor can put that sort of music over this part. And we're back in the room. A very similar question. So about 5 weeks ago, we did talk about blending graphite and steel in the
Yeah,
shafts.
there's a man who's changing his iron shafts and wanted to know, have I got too much weight discrepancy between each? And then I got confused because this is a wedge shaft question as well.
So really quickly abridged, what was the answer to that and this? Because Ashley asked the same thing.
I don't ever see, I've never seen a really tangible reason in any of the fittings I've ever done or watched for someone to go dramatically away from their iron shaft into their wedges. I don't mind going marginally softer in flex or a gram or two heavier or lighter here and there, but people move the club in a certain way, and I've never really seen a very compelling reason to massively change the characteristics from your irons to your wedges. Might be a dull answer. I've never figured out any of these specialist wedge shafts that I've ever tested, be it the DG spinner, be it there's a from Breakthrough Golf Technology, I think it's called the Red Zone shaft I've tested as well, which says it's going to up your spin by 30%. Sorry, guff. Not that I've ever seen. And the only way you can ever add spin to anything is, it's obviously strike related, so that's going to be through grooves, it's going to be through dynamic loft. So what they're suggesting is how their shaft loads creates a dynamic loft that's going to produce more spin. I've never seen any evidence of it, and I don't really know of any high-end players that have played any of this stuff.
So I didn't ask his question.
Cool.
Do spinner or wedge shafts actually increase spin?
No.
There we go.
To me, some people will say yes, some people will see the word spinner on the shaft, have that placebo effect.
Yeah, that gets me all horned up.
They'll have hit a shot off a really bare lie that they just nipped perfectly that one night and pitched into grain with a really clean ball and clean grooves, and would have just made that decision that that's definitely the spinniest shaft in the history of golf. If you go through this stuff in a logical way, test it over a length of time, honestly, I've never seen any difference.
I already know Joe is going to say I should get a fitting, but I can't see the value of paying for a fitting on artificial turf indoors or outdoors, like most fitting locations use these days, as I don't see how it can be relevant or beneficial for working key wedge factors like grinds and bounce. Of course, I could be completely wrong. And you're not wrong on the indoor fitting. I think the idea of an indoor wedge fitting is like I need a good analogy for this, but I can't think of one that isn't really rude and going to get cut. So just like an indoor wedge fitting is pointless to me. I'm sorry. It just is, because I've been lucky enough, now you were there, to go through an outdoor wedge fitting, which, Ash, was brilliant. You've got to interact with the ground properly. We saw, for me, I've got thins, I've got bats. Once we work out, I can slam dunk any chip off a mat. I go boom, boom into the back of the mat, and then I hit the ball and go, oh, that was good. Yeah. No, it wasn't. You fatted it.
There's no level of, you're not measuring yourself there. You've got an artificial level of security and forgiveness. And that's what I mean. You know how I love precision golf. And I think it's just the most comprehensive and thorough facility. I was never mad comfortable doing wedge fittings in an indoor environment, because like there's elements you can get right. You can tell someone what loft gaps are going to fit well with the rest of their bag.
You
for
could
example.
gap a set of full swings, fine.
But even
fine.
then, strike location is compromised a little bit. As you've seen a post I did ages ago, where anytime I practice indoors, the strike location's like 3 or 4 millimeters higher than it would be off a fairly standard fairway lie. So then you spin and you launch, you're compromised a bit, which does have a little bit of effect on your carry distance as well. Simply put, the reason we do a lot of that in the UK is because there aren't masses of alternatives. There's very few places that have high quality grass areas that you can actually you can measure this stuff. And as I'm saying that, I don't know that that's massively true. Actually, I mean, like if I think of Saunton down near me, we've got a lovely pitching green with really nice, tight, bare sort of linksy turf that tests a lot of people out with three bunkers around it, up hills, down hills. There's a grass practice range where you can hit 240 yard shots off well prepared fairways. So maybe it's a limitation of seasonal stuff, because if you're going for your fitting in July at Saunton,
hello,
it's like that. It's rock hard.
Come in.
Then is your fit completely defunct when you go and play somewhere that's sopping wet? I don't know. It's just something. We all want these answers at consumer, and manufacturers try and make all this stuff as simple and digestible as possible. So go back to putters. All right, look, if you want a square to square stroke, you're face balanced. You got a lot of arc in your stroke. Your toe hang. You're somewhere in the middle. All right, you're 45-degree toe hang. That's nonsense, but it's what we've been told
to make it easier for everybody.
years.
That's
like
fine.
The tailor-made React shaft scenario. I think it's nice. It's on the right lines. It gives people a starting point, but it's not the be-all and end-all. There's ways that's not nuanced enough to be effective for many, many players. And there's so many other examples of that in the golf industry, where we all do this whole, we've got to make this simple, easy, and because the idea is they want to make it easy for you to spend your money.
Yeah, of course.
So they want you to get in, have a half an hour to an hour fit,
and you're either A, B, or C.
Bosh, and then press the button, we'll order it. There's your money, it'll be there in 10 days.
Yeah.
Jobs are good. Well, the fact of the matter is, no good player operates like that. Full stop. Like the fittings I've seen on tour take months, weeks, trying different things in different conditions, in this, that, and the other. But again, a lot of people say I don't have time for that. And cool, well, you go down this route,
and you get the best for what you can offer to the game at the minute, from time, and life gets in the way, people,
Correct.
jobs, etc.
Yeah.
Advice we much. Could you recommend a fitting centre that fits on real turf? The outdoor wedge fitting with Titleist, I don't know what that actually costs a human being to go and do. Plus, then you buy the wedges, but
sensational.
But if you're serious about your game, you've got them again. I can't tell you how much money is right for you or not. That's the way to go, because it's an outdoor fitting with a tour level fitter, and you get real turf interaction. And if you want to take your wedges seriously, what else are you going to do? If you don't want to take them that seriously, fine. You can go and get an indoor one, get the gapping about right, feel a couple, and go and go with it. I don't know what else to say.
I don't even always know that it needs to be guided. Sure, Will Harvey was there, who's brilliant and fits some of the best players in the world, understands all the grinds and everything extremely well, but anyone can see results and feel what a good crisp chip shot looks like to an extent. So even if you're someone who's just got a chipping green and a pitching green at your club, and your pro's got a bag full of demo wedges, take a few different bounces out, take a few different sole widths out, and just find out what you're getting the most consistent result with, what you're finding strike with from the fairway, from the rough, from the bunkers. It's not an easy process. It's not going to take you half an hour. You might need to do that over the course of a couple of days. Do you mind if I take that other one out for 20 minutes again? Go again, go again, go again. But all of these things are, you get out what you put in. And if you just put in a 45-minute session off a mat, chances are you may not end up with what you should.
There we go, Ash. Love the pod, Ash, West Sussex. P.S. How are the adventures of Joe's Vibesman bag going? And we had an outing of a Vibesman bag, that little Jones bag in the Golf Pride fix-up dump challenge video. That was a Vibesman set, I would say, as well, especially with the head cover, which is on the bag today, but not in shot. You're so locked into your current game, like your real game with your real clubs. I think the Vibesman may have taken a bit of a back seat for the time being.
Life's gotten in the way, and also I never know.
Also, he's flushing it at the minute.
I'm so flushing. I don't know if I told you. So heavily invested in just trying to play really well and using my full set of optimal clubs that I want
I'm
to
Joe
work.
Ferguson. I'm playing my optimal
That I want
clubs.
to work for me, and I just don't get the time to go out and just have 9 holes with a little half set and just for
Vibe
the fun
out.
of the game and to connect with my soul and spirituality. As fun as that sounds.
I mean, down in North Devon, that's exactly what everyone else is doing anyway. You
And I
should join
should
in with the
be.
rest of
Well,
them.
I don't have the time. I'm
Looking
busy-
into the crystals
busy
and
talking-
making hemp bags or whatever it is you do down there.
busy talking guff with you in Winnersh. So I don't have the time. But yeah, so I will. We need to give another shout out to the Jones bag. Though it's a lot of compliments for my little Jones bag, which we'll pop a little picture up of there. We will, because we already got that picture. Don't worry. You were shaking your head.
No, I was just going, ooh.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were shaking your head because you couldn't be bothered to find the picture. I was like, don't worry, we've already got that picture.
I've just realised we're an hour and 10 in and I'm ready to go.
You are ready. But yeah, we got a lot of you like that, didn't you? You like my little
That
Jones
bag.
bag.
I've been oohing for the last 30 seconds, Joe. What else am I need to do?
So have a little look. No one's they gave it to me, but they didn't pay me or anything.
Sure.
I would heartily recommend going and looking at the Jones
it's
player bag.
it's the canvas material of it that's just
Very similar to those head covers, isn't it?
from PRG.
From PRJ.
Get the comments. PRG make me a head cover. Hashtag PRG make me a head cover. We need a phrase for that. We've got phrases for everything. PRG get me a head cover.
PRJ get me a head cover.
PRG and then the G turns into et me a head
I
cover.
think I got that. Thank you. Yeah.
Oh right.
Yeah.
Should go home.
I think it's for the best. Yeah. Some good
right.
consumer advice though,
Yeah.
as always.
I like
if I
it.
say so myself.
I like the one about taking wedges out on your own if your pro has it and just figure it out yourself if you can. I liked that one.
Sorry, just to pull on.
We
that
got 20 more
thread
minutes, go
a
on.
little bit longer. As good as Will was, he's not telling you.
It was Will Harvey.
Yes, as good as Will Harvey was, he wasn't telling you anything you didn't know, was he? When you all of a sudden, by some sort of miracle, clipped one that sounded nice, that span and stayed on the green instead of knocking our camera over behind the green,
Thinning it again.
you were aware that was a good shot. You didn't need Will to tell you, oh, that was better, did you?
No.
But
But
you-
I needed him there to take a quarter of an inch off my shaft.
Yeah, so that level of detail, fantastic. But also, if you felt, most of the people listening to this will know what a sort of the drop kick one feels like. We hit behind it, bounces up. Chances are, if you're doing that, okay, go and grab the one next to the bag that's got less bounce. See if that changes that. If that starts digging, find one with a little bit more bounce or a wider sole, and just keep going and going until you find the one that you're most confident with. And that's all the wedge fitting is really, other than the gapping.
Yes.
which is
Needs a bit of data.
which certainly needs a bit of data. The rest of it, in terms of that round the green stuff, is what goes through the sand nicely. What are you getting the best turf interaction with? And you can figure that out yourself, quite frankly. And if you can't, you've got no place on the golf course. Strike that last bit from the record. You have every place.
Yeah, come on, we're supposed to be relatable.
Sorry, yes.
Time to go. No one's listening now anyway because you started signing off. Goodbye. We'll be back next week.
Yeah, bye then.